Welcome to Akulmek Live. I'm Kanchan Verma, and today is Remarkable Monday. And today we have a special guest, Ritu Gupta, who is the CEO of Four Season PR Agency, and she's quite seasoned professional. So first, let's welcome her. Welcome to the show, Ritu. How are you doing today? As you know that we had been doing public relation tactics in different streams, different segments. So yet again, we are here to discuss about. So what we are discussing today, Ritu?
Thank you, Kanchan. I'm so glad to be back on your show. And today we are going to talk about why and how public relation is being used in the charitable work and, by various NGOs. What is its importance?
Well, great. So NGO also require public relation activity. That is something which is quite remarkable. So how really we use these tactics in public relation in NGOs?
Yes, Kanchan. All NGOs and whether they are big or small, they do their public relations as per their budget. Any NGO, every NGO has to do public relations. The charitable organizations, they take up the public relations work because any NGO or the charitable organization can only function if they get good donation. So to generate the donation, you have to undertake various public relation activities. Then only you can survive because to do any kind of charitable work to promote your good self, your good activity, to show your concern for the society, you have to publicize about your work which you do at the ground level, at the government level, at various other levels. And for that, you need some money. And that money is being generated via donation. So to have donation to raise the funds, you need to do public relations.
Well, when we are talking about public relation and especially for NGOs, so do we really require the same patterns of public relation activity like exhibition and creating awareness through newspaper or maybe word of mouth, which is being used for maybe for a long time? So what are those pillar of activities which are used in NGOs?
Okay, so the public relation work in NGOs and the charitable organization is slightly different. It's pure public relations, but then the methods undertaken are slightly different. First of all, you have to make the case study of your own work, the work which you undertake, whatever your charitable organization does. Your NGO does, you have to make the case study of that, and that case study has to go to the various functionaries in the government. And in case you want to generate fund from any private sector, any big giant in private sector, you have to present your case study. Number two, you have to be very active on the social media. You have to let people know what is your organization all about. I mean, your charitable organization, what does your NGO do? Why it is required, what is the need of this particular NGO. And suppose if you or I make any kind of donation, then there should be a small interview by ourselves talking about the great work being done for the NGO and why we have made the donation, because this is going to encourage other people, encourage the viewers, encourage other people who are there on the social media to make any kind of donation as it suits them. Number three, you should have some celebrity as your ambassador. It is very important that any NGO and every NGO should have some known face. The celebrity can be from Bollywood, can be sports person or anyone. The celebrity, having a celebrity, it really leaves an impact on the mind of the people, because you have to definitely play with the psychology of the general public who give the donation, and also with the psychology of the private sectors, the big giants, the big business houses, because they are the ones who do the CSR, corporate social responsibility. So there is a big chunk of money in CSR that you need to take for your charitable organization. So these the celebrities, they go and speak on your behalf to the masses. They are there on your publicity posters, and they speak about your good work. And if you see in today's world, most of the celebrities are connected with some kind of NGO. So it is a win-win situation for the NGOs also and for the celebrities also, because it saves their taxes also.
Well, definitely, because we require awareness about whatever work we do. And as you mentioned, social media is one of the key aspect when we are talking about public relation, because that gives a platform of interaction. But my question is, suppose if my NGO is 1 year old, so what kind of public relation activity we really start, and what is the duration we should plan, so that we are in the eyes of general public and people start realizing our work and appreciating an NGO, the work we are doing, or any NGO, which is whatever work, like child education or safe environment, any kind of work. So how we can plan it and how we can start that kind of activity,
Very,
especially when PR we are talking about.
it's a very good question, Kanchan. So, suppose if your NGO is a very new NGO, it's just 1 year old. So there are various programs which you do, because every NGO does various kind of programs on the grassroots level, whatever you do. So you need to promote those programs. You need to make file of those programs, because after 3 years or 5 years you can generate government fund also. So to get the government fund, you have to present your case study. You need to have the pictures also of the various programs, various seminars, various activities you're doing. You need to give the complete report also. And at the same time, the same things are going to help you out in generating the funds. If it's 1 year old NGO, you will not get any government fund, but then you will get the funding from the private place, from the private sectors. So you do your PR on small level. You take small step every time. So sometimes you are teaching the kids, sometimes you're talking about their wellness, sometimes you are talking about giving education about child abuse to, or sanitizing the general public. So at various level you approach different business houses and let them know that this is what we do. You make the posters, send them the posters, send them your social media promotion activity, and let them know that what you are doing and how can they be beneficial, because your promotion is going to get you the funds. And anyone who's giving you the funds or who's giving you the donation should also know that how it is going to be beneficial for them also. So these are small public relation works which you do, so that where you connect different members of the society with your project.
I would like to hear any case study which you know, and any NGO which you appreciate and they have marvelous public relation activity beside their crucial core work of generating awareness about the cause.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about one NGO which is called Samarpan, and it started in Uttarakhand. It started in Dehradun, and Samarpan was only initially was started from one room in a house in Dehradun. So they were only giving computer education to the kids. As you know, the most of the kids in Uttarakhand, they definitely go to the school. Whether they have to walk a lot, whether they have to cycle out or whatever, most of the kids, they go to the school, and the education is the prime concern for every parent living in the rural area also of the Uttarakhand. So they were giving computer education to the kids there. So when the kids would come back from the school, they would attend 1 hour computer education. They were taught how to use the computers. Plus, they were given some kind of small meal also, like lemonade, nimu pani, shikanji, and the patty, burger, paratha, whatever. So they were given the meal also. The meal was given to attract the kids to attend the classes also. It's very important. So this Samarpan organization, it worked there. It worked on this similar level for nearly 5-6 years, and then they started getting the government fund. They moved out of Dehradun and they reached to the rural area, where they were educating the villagers about the child abuse also. So from education, they went to the child abuse. And now I've heard that they have collected lots of money, and they are, talking about old age homes. They are talking about senior livings. They have various senior people living with them. Also, they have made an orphanage also. So the kids, they have the senior parents, and the parents have the senior young kids living with them. So they have given a kind of a family atmosphere to the senior people also, and to the young orphanage kids also. They have become orphaned because of various calamities happening there, and so there is no one taking care of them. So this particular NGO has given shelter to these kids. So this is a case study that how the NGO can grow itself. You start with one cause, and you can then grow as you get your donation, and grow your cause to different aspects related with the main cause.
Right. When we are talking about public relation and then we are discussing about charitable organizations. Now, when we are talking about public relation professional, so the skill set which is required for NGO or charitable PR professional, are they different from other corporate PR professionals?
Not really, not really. In the charitable organization, you have to again write very well, speak to the media people, because it is the media people who will give you the publicity. Media is always open to take interviews, talk about the charitable work also. So you should have the right contact in the media so that they can, showcase your cause. They can write about it. They can show on your TV channels. They call you for the interview. It is just that you should have good communication skill, and the work you do, you make sure that you speak to the people. So what I'm trying to say, you should have an outgoing personality, plus your language should be very good, so that people, they know about it, and you are able to get the fund. So in a way, you should have the marketing skills also. You have to sell your charitable organization work to various business houses and to the media also, because it is the media which helps you a lot in getting the funds. So you should have marketing skills also.
So, any last thought you want to share when we are talking about charitable organization? Because this is a quite an important segment in the society and people who are engaged in charitable and NGO activity. So, first is that they are very concerned about the cause and they want other people to be concerned the cause which with we are working upon. At the same time, the public relation agencies who are working with them. So I think it is what personally I feel it's a long activity when we are especially talking about public relation for NGOs. So any agency who is engaged in especially charitable cause and doing a public relation. So any last thought or any professional who want to cultivate the PR skills, especially for NGOs, would like to share anything?
Yes, Kanchan. First of all, I really want to say that it's a tedious work to be working with NGOs, and since NGOs are most of the time under scanner of the government, so the NGOs are also very careful. They only take people who are qualified to do the job. So if you want to be a PR consultant for NGO, you should be actually qualified. You should have your degree, diploma in public relations or mass communication. Number two, you should have good communication skills, and you should have your marketing abilities also. And I think it's a very good thing if you get connected with NGO, because let me say, cry, child relief, and you. Then there is Kushi, then being human. Just name the NGOs. And even I have worked with an NGO for more than 6 years. So most of the NGOs, they have proper public relations department. They have proper PR people working for them, because these are the people who make their annual reports. These are the people who are making their intercommunication reports also. These are the people who go out and talk. So if you really, any young student, any intern who wants to gain some knowledge about public relations, they must go and work with NGOs, because there you actually get the ground level knowledge. You work at the grassroots level. You at times are working with the poor segment of the society, but at the same time you are going and talking with the business houses also, and you are going and lobbying in the with various government officials or bureaucrats also. So you actually are doing public relations. So I will say it's a very interesting field, but it is slightly tedious that you have to be hardworking. That's it.
Well, as usual, it is so lovely to talk to you today and know about the skill set for especially charitable organization. We'll be meeting again with next topic. Till then, bye bye and you take care.
Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dear CEOs and industry leaders, you are most graciously welcome to Akulmac Business Bunker. This is a forum where you are able to showcase your products to the masses, to the investor, to the prospects, and to your client. And if you want to promote your company and yourself, you have landed at the right place. Before we continue, do like and subscribe our channel. Friends, we have been hearing about the augmented reality or AR. And sometimes we must be wondering what is this AR got to do with our real life? And especially when there are important things happening in the corporate world. And for instance, for past few days, we have been hearing that the Facebook has changed their name to Meta, which is Metaverse. And they are actually making a lot of investments in basically making sure that this makeover is very prominently known to the people across the world. And they have recently also announced, in fact day before yesterday, that they have come out with the world fastest supercomputer. And why a company like Facebook would like to get into changing their name to Metaverse, and also building the world fastest supercomputer for what? I think let's look at the other trend which is also happening in the industry, and that is related to Microsoft. Microsoft is also not trying to not get into augmented reality. They are also working on their own devices, and recently they have also purchased a gaming company for a whooping 68.7 billion. Who would have thought a gaming company would be as much as 60.87 billion worth? And a Microsoft will end up buying a company like Activision, which is one of the prominent gaming company across the world, rolling out many games. And so when we talk about games, I think the gaming software or gaming companies have the right infrastructure to create different characters, and that is why these companies are investing in these gaming companies, because they have already built the infrastructure, servers, applications to create different characters, so that when the augmented reality comes into picture, they should be able to create different graphics which are lifelike. And that is why these companies are investing in these things. So Facebook has invested in the building the world fastest supercomputer, whereas Microsoft has basically taken a different route, where they have taken over a gaming company. And all this is now gearing up to start the augmented reality. And when we talk about augmented reality, I think we are far ahead in the digital world if you look at today. But in terms of augmented reality, what we need is to merge our physical world with the digital one. So one of the best method to do that is having a glass. So all of these companies, these are super powered giants like Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple, they are all coming out with their own technology around these glass. Lot of development is going on this these devices. There are different technologies being used so that the users of these different applications which are running on these platforms like Facebook, Microsoft platform, or Google platform can be accessed not by a PC but by a glass. So you can actually have a glass, and you can get all the information that you need. Currently you see on your mobile, the same information can be delivered to you on your glass while you continue to look into your real world. And then you can put what portion of the vision you want to see these characters to, or the screens to fly by in your vision, and what portion of your real world should be visible to you. Or you can dedicate one eye to the digital world, one eye to the real world. Full combination permutations are possible once you have a glass which is sensitive enough to do all this. And people in fact argue why we do all this, why there is a need to do all this in the first place. I think the life is going on pretty nicely. Why we need to bring all this new fancy augmented reality or virtual reality in future to our real world? I think the need is there, and I tell you why. If you look at the schools today, I think the going through education process using Zoom link through a video platform is very, very dry, and students don't have opportunity to interact with their own classmates, and because of that you need something more richer. So when people are sitting and working from remote location, joining their schools, and different they are doing different types of studies, what if there is a AR associated with this whole concept of school education, where by wearing a augmented reality glass, school students will be not only be able to interact with their classmates as if they're sitting across the table, but also experience things which which the teachers can explain much better, like triangle, a floating triangle they can see in front of their eyes, and whatever teacher wants to tell them, that how the triangle or a a 3D object looks, like a sphere or a trapezium looks in real life, and how geometry will function, how the formula will actually depiction of the geometry in algebraic expression, and so on. So you will be able to provide better study, better experience to students if you have the augmented reality associated with your school ERP. Similarly, if you look at the medical sciences, I think there again there are huge opportunities in the area of medical sciences, because the doctor can examine the patient's vitals sitting at off location, not in the hospital, and then they can use various depiction models to see actually what is the condition of the patient, and probably if it is right, they can demonstrate the condition of the ailment to the patient in a 3D format without the patient or doctor visiting the hospital, and also tell them that this is the kind of medicine you will be given or administered, and after the medication, these are the things which can be subsided. Or there could be an operation by which you can depict upfront, you can give a lot of information to the patient about how the operation will cure their ailment. At the same time, if you have an augmented reality attached to a robot, you can probably conduct an operation also remotely using AR. So a doctor can use the AR technology and then direct the robot to conduct an operation on the patient while he is not sitting in the operation theater. So these are certain applications which are possible in the area of medical world. Similarly, if you look at the official environment, most people are working from home, and because of that they are having the same issue what the school students are having. They are missing out the team effort, the challenges of team, the collaboration, etc. The challenges of a school students and the office going people are different. but the nature of these issues are same, which can be solved by having an augmented reality, and that will bring these team members together. Say for example, if you're working on a if you're giving a lecture, instead of seeing different windows, why don't you see actual people in front of you? So when you're sitting on the table and give a lecture to your camera, in your glass you start seeing these pictures of your audience as if they're sitting in front of you. I think that is going to be very, very good, very life-changing experience without leaving, you without leaving the work from home environment. You can still experience the real world. So that is why augmented reality is going to change our life. And that is why companies like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they are investing big time and betting big time on this, because that is where the future lies. If we have these devices and we have these these augmented reality based applications associated with us, which I know for sure that Facebook is working on it, and eventually they will launch in 2022. By end of 2022, Facebook is going to make a very big announcements about having a AR applications available on their platform, on their tested, tried social media platform. All users will have to do is buy a Facebook Glass to get connected with their Facebook application. Similarly, Google Glass is also coming out. They are also bringing some latest technologies, and there are a lot of talk around the Apple Glass, which is going to bring the next level of AR, and they are doing a lot of research in that area. So I think the future for augmented reality is there. There is a need, because I think there is a lot of loss right now in terms of how people should interact with each other, because in the end we are social animal. We learn by interacting with each other. We hug each other, we actually talk to each other, etc., greet each other, and so on. There are so many expressions which we are missing out, and especially the young generation is also missing out on all those things. And therefore augmented reality will be a good, pleasant change to our digital world, which we are now completely seeped into. And I'm fully waiting for this augmented reality to come to our life. Not the virtual reality, but augmented reality is going to help us a lot. Will give us a lot of information about our surroundings. We want to actually see the news. We can see it. We don't have to have a TV in our house. We can actually sit wherever and start our television, and so on and so forth. So there are so many variety of application, permutation, combinations are possible in augmented reality. Friends, if you think you like some of the examples that I quote, do write in. And if you have any other thought around augmented reality, do share your thoughts. I will read out your messages in my next show. For today, I like to say goodbye, only to catch you in the next one.
Good morning, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies. Welcome to Spotlight. And I graciously welcome our guest today, Mr. Naval Gant from UK. Naval, welcome to Top Brass Spotlight.
Good morning, CK. Look forward to a good chat this early morning.
Certainly, Naval. So before we start our discussion, I just want to give you little statistics on the Indian situation on the COVID. So, so as of now, we are almost touching 30,000 COVID infected people across the entire length and breadth of the country. And the rate of doubling of corona patient is almost equal to what we see in Europe and also in US. So now the cases in India are doubling every 3 days. And so which is alarming. At the same time, we have the fatality rate of 3%, which is equal to what we have seen in the Europe and also in US. So it is very similar to the global database. However, yesterday the rate of doubling of corona patient came down to 4 in a day. So I think if we continue our discipline, we can flatten the curve. So it is still going up, but at some time it has to start flattening. So that is a good news. I think the key here is that there are certain districts and certain states which are moving towards the green zone. So they had corona patients, they quarantined those facilities, they became red to orange, and now yesterday there are 16 new districts which have become green again. That means there is no corona patient for past 3-4 days in those districts. So I think gradually, India being a large country, I think we are moving towards ensuring that more and more districts become green and they do not have corona infection going forward. And then another news is that plasma therapy has been started. It is showing promising signs in some of these states. People are showing positive signs after getting the plasma treatment. But as you know, plasma treatment is not something which is very standard like a tablet. So it has to be administered by an expert, a doctor who has knowledge of immunology. So I think that's a different aspect. We will not talk about that more in today's, because I think we are only covering statistics. But the good news in all of this is that the survival rate of in India is the highest across the world. So we have patients who are getting cured are 22%. So our fatality is 3%, and the number of patients which are getting cured in the hospitals and getting out of the hospitals are 22%. That information, along with the fatality rate, really flatten the curves if you look at it in a holistic manner. So I think the Indians have more resilience for the virus, and they are, even after getting the virus, they're getting cured faster. So I think this is something which I wanted to share with you as of today. I think we have to wait and watch the situation, have a very disciplined lockdown, and then revisit this point after a few days, after a week maybe.
That's really good news. And as you know, as we talked about when this coronavirus first hit, you know, when we were talking through our trip through the alphabet, we were talking about how we would come out of this lockdown arena, which is a real challenge for every country in the world. But as you remember, we spoke about almost nearly well over a month ago now, when we talked about the marketing specialists out there already know what the answer is, and it's test and measure, test and measure, test and measure, which is the sort of marketing mantra, really. So we need to be able to have a test capability and then a measuring capability, which a lot of people are now putting a lot of faith in, the apps, the tracing apps. So just imagine what a marketing person would have with that tracing app. You know, every time you do a marketing bit of marketing material, you can actually trace who's picked up that marketing material. And effectively, we're looking at the same thing with COVID-19, so that you can go back and find out just exactly who you've physically been in contact with over time. So it's really good news. I mean, there must be something in the Indian gene, let's call it, or the gene pool, that perhaps gives you more resilience than elsewhere. In the UK, we've noticed that it's the ethnic minorities here that are more prone to not just catching the disease, but seem to be their survival rates are not as good as the generic population. So there's got to be some more detailed research that needs to be captured for this. And again, I think as you say from India, I think we will find that there will be cultural and regional differences. So let's hope that our scientists that are capturing all this information are open to these types of discussions.
Absolutely. In fact, we also have an app which has been introduced by the government of India, which is very similar to the Australian app. It's basically used for contact tracing. So, government of India is encouraging every citizen to download the app, and that will help government to trace the contact tracing, or basically make a heat map of the entire situation. So, I think that is also helping them in some way.
Yes, it certainly will, and it raises the issue. A lot of discussion over here has been around privacy. At the end of the day, this is a digital app. We're in a digital world, so that's good news. So, not surprisingly, a digital app actually is going to get us out of this huge problem that we've got ourselves into. But there is a big issue of privacy. So, what data is being captured, how long it's being stored, and we know of all the issues that Facebook have had over the years, and LinkedIn, and any literal digital platform that's had over the years, and now government's having to deal with this privacy issue. In it's Australia and India, you don't have what we call GDPR, so we have to be a little bit careful over the type of information we capture, why we're capturing it, the longevity of that information. But frankly, my view is, for the greater good and to kill this disease, we need to all download the app, whatever the app is, and start using it as soon as possible, because that's the only way we're going to kill this virus off, really, until we get a vaccine. Hopefully plasma will help, but until we get a vaccine, we're not really going to kill this particular virus off. And I think I'd like to talk about virus in a different term now, and the digital virus, cyber security, because despite the fact that we are in this digital age, I still see many people in the panic or denial arena with regards to the digital world. And for all you digital companies out there, your IT companies, software companies, etc., this is a huge opportunity for you to take advantage now of what's going on in the digital world. Don't sit in lockdown and wait for things to happen. I was speaking to the managing director of a moderately small business yesterday. The company's called Ramsack. They're based in the middle of the UK, so in the Midlands, as we call it. And he gave some fantastic news last week, that he just recruited 7 more people.
Wow.
It is a wow, isn't it? I mean, this is a small company and they've just recruited 7 more people. Well, it's not surprising, really, because everyone's rushing for digital. And he's literally taken advantage of it, not furloughing his employees, not putting them on, goodbye and we'll wait for the upturn. They're being proactive. And the reason they took on 7 more people was because they needed them. You don't go and recruit someone because you don't need them, especially in these difficult times. So I just find that really great news, and perhaps people should be looking at the Ramsack model. What are they doing? But let me tell you, they're not doing anything different than a small IT group based in Mumbai, or based in Delhi, or based in Calcutta. It's looking at their audience and talking to their audience and providing a solution for their audience. So whilst a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, there's some huge organizations that are in this panic mode over here. There are equally a lot that are in denial. They're saying, no, we're not going to go to the digital age. We're not going to go to the cloud, as we call it. We're just going to keep doing what, because things will return. Well, guess what? You're going to have to move. You're going to have to move over here. But don't move to the panic. The panic people need to move to the middle ground, and the denial people need to move to the middle ground and get into line with where the Ramsacks of this world are talking about. Get with the program, listen to the specialists. While everyone's working from home, we know that the future will be a combination of people working from home and working in the office. My own children have been told that some of you are going to be, actually, your new contract is, it will be based from home. Now, one's in a construction company, they're in consultancy, and they have consultants all around the world. And his job has literally gone from working from a London Bridge base to working from Welling, from home. That doesn't mean to say he won't have to go into the office every now and again to literally work with the team or give feedback. But they found that utilizing digital tools, just like the tool we're using here, and Skype and FaceTime and the telephone, using it in the right way, and some other online digital tools that help you to make sure you're being productive and active, they found that, you know what, our productivity levels have gone up. Now, they're not unusual, but they're not going to shout about it because that's competitive advantage. So all you I'm reaching out now to all of you small digitally based companies, the ones that do IT remote sourcing, remote maintenance. Now get out there, go to your audience, tell them what you do and how you do it for other people. Because if Ramsack in the Midlands can grow and add 7 people to their complement, there's no reason why you can't do it. The only reason you can't do it is you. So take organizations into the digital world. Show them how safe it can be. Educate people that are working from home to be safe in the cyber world. And get out there and do it now.
That's right, Neville. In fact, a few days back, I presented to my viewers an analytics on how the media business is going to be recalibrated because of the digital, the digital wave which is going to hit now. And I think the sponsors will also have to recalibrate where they spend. So I think your point is very valid, because if the business is moving on to the digital platform, the sponsors behind that digital business will also come. So I think it's very valid. And I remember one of the state chief minister made a public appeal yesterday in India saying that, hey, I think we need to learn to live with coronavirus because that's the way it is going to be. So learn to live with corona. So I think that is one very good message that chief minister gave yesterday.
No, it's true, and we laugh about it. I mean, this is a killer disease, but we've got to learn to live with it. It's a bit like learning to live with the other idiots that are on the road. You're a great driver, but you have accidents because of other people. Yeah, we're right. We believe that, don't we? Sometimes it's our fault. But the point is, we've got to live with it. Be resilient. Get out there. And the thing about this is, you're a great business. Tell people not how great you are, because that's a complete waste of time. They need to know what you're doing for other people, why other people are investing in your organization. And that isn't being a shareholder in your organization, but it is being a stakeholder. People buy from people, as we've said on many occasions before. Now the time is to explain to others who you really are. And people will flock to you. Again, just like they've done with Ramsack, you don't take on 7 people. This is a big increase for this organization. 7 new hires in the height of the corona virus in the UK.
Yeah, I'm sure this company must be doing something right, and that is why they are ramping up. And I think we should take a lead, learn the new trades, grow our business. I think your message is very, very clear, loud and clear, that we all have to move to the digital platform. So with this, I will also like to give my viewers a very positive news. The news is about the ozone layer. So as you know, Naval, that the ozone molecule is essentially oxygen molecule, but it has 3 oxygen molecules instead of 2. So it's a very unique combination, and that exists only at that particular height and temperature. And what actually destroy ozone is the the CFC molecules, which are found in our aerosols and a lot of chemicals which our vehicles and factories emit. And when these molecules rise to the ozone level of ozone, they break apart oxygen from O3 to O2 plus 1 extra oxygen. So what has happened in past 5 weeks? Because factories are shut off, there are no cars on the street, there are no deadly chemicals which are being released anywhere in the world by any factory. So there has been a reduction of pollutants in our atmosphere. And for the first time, we are seeing that the ozone hole over Arctic is completely sealed. So you see, within 5 weeks, the ozone layer has completely replenished itself, and the hole over Arctic was the biggest hole as per the scientists, and that has sealed itself.
Well, that's a great way to end this morning's discussion, because as we know, the environment, the world, it will recover. Now it's up to mankind to start to put things right.
Right. Hopefully, I think in days to come, we will have to learn different lifestyle also, because whatever we have been doing may not work very good in future. So I think we may have to adapt to a new lifestyle apart from adapting to digital world. Who knows?
I think you're absolutely right there. But the good news is, as you say, the ozone level has replenished itself. So nature's doing its job. Now it's about time we start to think about doing our job. So enjoy the rest of your day. Get through this problem, and remember, you digital groups out there, get out there, spread your word, start building the economy.
Thank you, Naval, for your guidance and your positive words. We'll catch up with you tomorrow again. Until then, be safe and stay safe, stay indoors.
Stay safe. High five.
High five.
So, CK, how are all my elves doing?
Ho, 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 ho. It's Christmas, Neville.
Oh, okay. But you can't have time off until Christmas Eve because we're going to be busy.
This time, Neville, it is going to be digital Christmas, and I'm going to catch you digitally even on the eve of Christmas.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Augmented Technologies, and today is 22nd. We're just 3 days away from Christmas. And to celebrate my Christmas, let me invite my friend from UK, Mr. Naval Goon.
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hello, CK. Couldn't resist that. Sorry, wearing a Santa hat. So, yes, 3 days away from Christmas Day. And as you probably heard, Christmas is cancelled.
Yes, Naval, I think we have been hearing a great deal about UK and the measures being taken there. And yesterday I heard on the TV that the list for people who will get vaccinated has been revised, and now the cutoff date is 75. Earlier it was 80. So I think lots is happening, and our best wishes for the everyone, not only for people from UK who are coming in the news quite a lot, but I'm sure it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah, it is, and thank goodness the vaccine is here. Our applause goes out to all those people involved in developing the vaccine that's been approved in the UK so far, and all the other vaccines that are well on their way to being approved. So that's the good news. And yes, we heard as of yesterday, this vaccine needs to be given in 2 doses. So it's a double dose, 7 to 10 days apart approximately. And as of yesterday, 500,000 people in the UK had been vaccinated, which is an amazing feat when you appreciate we're not really set up in this country to do any type of testing or vaccination that has come this way. So again, my heart and applause goes out to all of those involved in it. Yes, there's been logistical issues, particularly this initial vaccine that has to be stored at some ridiculously low temperature. And when it's distributed, it's only got like a 4 or 5 day shelf life. So the logistics around that are phenomenal. You know, we get flu jabs here each year, and it's like a methodical, like army approach, regimented approach. But for this, we've had even more people vaccinated in a fairly short period of time. So yep, it's really great news. It will continue into the new year. Hopefully, the second vaccine will be approved. That will be easier to distribute because it doesn't have this short shelf life that we've been told about, these low sub-zero temperatures that it has to be stored. So yeah, I think we're closing the year on a very happy note, despite the fact, sadly, for a lot of us in the UK and around the world, Christmas is cancelled. But let's talk about that, because people that focus on Christmas being a one-day event, you know, the 25th of December, we've probably lost sight of the fact of what this symbolises to the Christian world and to many other people around the world. It's new birth, it's new life, it's new opportunity, and it's that magic of Christmas. I always talk about the magic of Christmas in July, frankly, because if you've got the magic of Christmas in July, you certainly have got the Christmas spirit. And it's that Christmas spirit of being kind, being grateful, being thankful, and just being a good human being. So there's nothing wrong with that. So let's just hope that Christmas isn't cancelled and we keep that magical, you know, mystical type historical character who, don't tell anybody, but doesn't really exist in the North Pole, but does exist somewhere, and it's in here. That's where it exists, in our heart. So anyway, what does India hear about? Because I'm always fascinated. Wherever you are in the world, you hear about what's happening elsewhere, but of course, you're only hearing what they want you to hear. You're only hearing a snippet of the news programs that we have here. I mean, news in the UK is 24/7 now. You know, BBC Channel has a regular news briefing, and it's on channel 601 on Virgin Media, and you can look at that any time of the day, and it's just instantaneous news, and it's rehashing everything that's been out there for the last 24 hours if there's no news, or it's given us the weather, which is always another interesting subject. So what's India hearing about what's happening in the UK?
Naval, I think I can understand what is going on in the minds of people in the UK, because I think it's a new year, sort of a new year, and a lot of celebration. And as you put it rightly, it is the magic of Christmas. So I think the Indians, the non-Christian Indians, have also gone through the similar feelings recently, because the similar celebration happened just 3 weeks back when we had to.
Yeah, Diwali. Yeah, absolutely.
It was a subdued Diwali, uh, but the good thing is that you can still celebrate Christmas, and it's not going to be a gala event, but you can have the magic of Christmas really experience at home. And I think you can use a lot of Zoom sessions to communicate with each other. So it's going to be a digital Christmas this year.
It is, and interesting enough, as of yesterday, I have 5 children between my wife and myself. I've got 3 children, 2 stepchildren. As far as we're concerned, they're all ours. So, and they're in different parts of London as it happens. They're all fairly close to us, but they're so far away because even a couple of miles is you can't even go there. So we're going to have a karaoke Zoom event on Christmas Eve. So, you know, rather than do the traditional watch the TV and then go to church for Christmas carols, we're going to do a Zoom event and have a. I don't know how we're going to do this, by the way. I mean, the kids have told me it's perfectly possible, so it's fine. We're going to have a Zoom karaoke evening, which should be hilarious. Let's hope they don't record it, but playing back in a year's time, who knows? So there's loads of things you can do. Just the physical fact you're not together, and that is difficult. I mean, I've got to reach out to everybody. It is difficult. We're humans. We do like a cuddle. We do like to embrace, and that's the way that we do share. So yeah, it's going to be different, but we just need to get on with it. Really, we
Yes,
can't change it. Just get on with it.
yeah, that's right. I think it's a different way of making sure that you celebrate, and there is not even iota of reduction in your celebration, but the medium of celebration is slightly different. It is digital now instead of physical. So going back to your question about what we've been hearing about UK. So firstly, I personally believe that the coronavirus is just fooling the mankind. It is erupts in some form of the other, some different strains coming out, and some are getting infected with those special strains, and we keep hearing them about them in the news. So I think coronavirus is here to stay, and if you look at the Darwin's theory, I think it will mutate, and even if you don't get it, you will get it in some form or the other. And the important thing is to work on the immunity. So what we've been hearing is predominantly the news, and the news is what they want us to know. So any government want to shield certain information and don't want to publicize too much. For instance, there was news of strange. I mean, we have heard this twice in last 2 weeks. Strange disease erupting in small pockets in India, killing few people and infecting 300. But beyond that, we have not heard anything beyond that. So we really don't know what is that is killing people, and that is not corona. So I think would I would say that although we have been hearing a lot about UK, the lockdown and suspension of flight, sealing of border, but I'm sure this new strain will erupt even with all these measures in every part of the world.
I'm sure it will. We're still there's still question of where this original coronavirus actually started. Will we ever know? Who knows? Really, it's for the scientists in the world to go and find out. Really, but I think I'm really grateful of where I live because despite all of the conversations that are going on, this new variant could have been hushed up. In certain countries, maybe it will have been hushed up. But the scientists saw a problem, they investigated the problem, and if we believe what the government are telling us, within 24 hours they made the decision and they locked down they created a new tier, and Christmas was going to be different to what it is now. It would have still been very different from previously. It would have been quite curtailed, only being able to have 3 households in a bubble, not 3 households on Christmas Day and then a different 3 households on Boxing Day and a different 3 households on Christmas Eve. It was 3 households as a bubble, which was going to be would have caused us huge difficulties because I have 5 children. Each of those children live in different areas. They're either in long-term relationships with a partner or they're living with flatmates. Some are doing both. And it's really difficult. I mean, that they would have said, you'd have to choose 3 children. Because they would have been 3 bubbles, the 3 different, or actually 2 children, because we would have been one of the bubbles. So you can pick your 2 favorite kids. Hello, give me a break. That's not going to happen. So in some respects, it's a little easier for us. I did see a bit of a joke. Well, I hope it was a joke. Someone being interviewed yesterday. I can't remember who the guy was, but he was quite outspoken. And the interviewer said, BBC interviewer said, "So, this lockdown for Christmas, what's it going to do for you?" And he said, "Oh, it's a bit of a result, really. I don't have to see the mother-in-law." Now, he meant it in all seriousness and jokingly, but yeah, there'll be lots of those sort of jokes going around. The point is, it is going to be different. This new strain is quite different from normal variants. We're told normally there are 2 elements of a particular virus that's been affected. In this particular strain that's been found over the last few weeks, 23 elements have changed. But they've even identified it to the part of the protein that's changed. So when a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a bit hit and miss. They really don't know what they're doing." I've got to hand it to the scientists out there. For anyone to come up with a vaccine in this short period of time, not just one vaccine, but if we add up all of the vaccines in the world that are currently being tested and are getting results, we're talking well into double figures, the numbers of vaccines that are out there. It's a very scientific approach. This is almost like a space type, NASA type approach to the problem that we've got. So we're not back in the sort of Florence Nightingale days where it was hit and miss or what happened. This is incredibly sophisticated. Some people call it genome project of the decade. In fact, it'll probably be of the century. And it's actually finding out exactly how these molecules are made up and how they affect the majority of people. And they're not going to get this right, because there are going to be a few people that do have adverse symptoms. We've already heard that, a couple of people that were initially injected had symptoms of rejection. They weren't as what everyone was claiming them to be, because they were like a couple of hours. And again, it was actually the NHS. It was 2 of nursing arena that had just a rejection of the injection. We see this all the time. One flu jab, I remember my whole arm just blew up overnight, but it went down the following day. It's just it's not going to be perfect for everybody, basically, because we are all different, despite the fact we like to think we're all the same.
So I think going back to the point that you made, Neville, is about, I also feel very lucky that, we are living in a democratic and liberal world where at least we hear of advancements and things that happen around us. But, I imagine half of the world is living in either, some sort of communism or dictatorship where people don't have any means to even know what is going on in the neighborhood. So I think I feel very lucky that we know and we can discuss openly things like these. And at the same time, when you get vaccination, there will be a side effect. Every vaccination, whatever you take today, even the kids, it comes with a bunch of warnings like swelling, fever, nausea, things like that. So I think it's associated with all kinds of vaccination. It's a general advisory that you will get the arm swollen up, or the area around which the vaccine has been applied will swell up a bit. You may have a fever for 1 or 2 days and so on. So I think coronavirus vaccine will be similar. Will come with similar sort of warnings. uh, but most important thing is that the people in UK are getting it, and I feel also very good about it that the India has approved Pfizer one. They are going to.
Oh, excellent! That's really good news.
Yes, and they are going to start vaccination within a few weeks from now. So they are preparing the list of the first recipient. And since India being such a large country, the first list comprised of 18 million people. So we don't have the knowledge of the date uh, when it will start, but surely it will start in a couple of weeks. The second vaccine which is coming up in India is something called Covaxin. It's an Indian-owned region, and that is going to be the second one that we will have as a second choice. So Pfizer won for the emergency cases, and then Covaxin will come in picture after 1 or 2 weeks of vaccination to start.
It's good news, and the homegrown vaccine just goes to give a lot of people in India the confidence that you've got some really brilliant people behind the scenes as well. I mean, that's one of the things that this particular pandemic has shown. We've got some fantastic people all the way around the world. You know, no one country has got the monopoly on the best scientists. We've all got great scientists, and the other thing is they're all working together, which is what businesses really should take a leaf out of their copybook. Start working together. A number of times you and I talk about collaboration on our programs. It doesn't mean to say you're giving away your intellectual property or your competitive advantage, but 1+1 is definitely greater than 2. Stop behaving 1+1 is less than 1. Because that's really for a mathematician, that's not what we want. You know, we do want this R rate actually. In the business world, we want the R rate to improve. We want 1.4, we want 1.5, we want 2.5. You know, we do want the excitement of being entrepreneurial, so that it feeds through, and it's like a positive virus that feeds through us all. And so next year will be better than last year, and even better than the year before.
Yes, and while we are grappling with this situation, I sincerely, feel that every one of us, like we are doing, Neville, to celebrate the digital Christmas and also the New Year. So I think going forward, there will be some social change. We will be more active digitally and celebrate digitally. And as you said that you are going to participate in a family karaoke. So I think that's a good idea. There could be 1,000 other ideas, on the digital platform where people can start enjoying. And we would like to know more from other people. What are the other ideas by which they can celebrate a very good Christmas this year? So with that, we can end our discussion. And I'm sure a lot of people, whether vaccine or no vaccine, will celebrate Christmas this year, will bring the magic home. So with that, we can end our discussion today. Merry Christmas to you and your family, Neville.
Thank you very much, CK. Merry Christmas to everybody, and make it sparkle.
Ho, 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 ho.
Hello, welcome to Akulmek Live. I'm Kanchan Verma, and today in this episode we'll be discussing about Bollywood and their relation, how it work, how public relation helps. And today we have expert in public relations. She's a seasoned professional. So we'd like to welcome Ritu Gupta. Hello, Ritu. Welcome to the show. And today we have a discussion which is, I think, very interesting because I am wondering, do really Bollywood require a public relation agency to boost their work or their film? How it is? So, welcome to the show, Ritu. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Kanchan. I'm absolutely fine and so happy to discuss a very interesting topic about public relations used extensively in PR. The PR being extensively used in Bollywood. So, very happy to be here on your show again.
Well, I had been wondering that we have pictures, we have popular heroes and heroine artists. So, how really public relation really plays a vital role when we talk about Bollywood? Because Bollywood is such a place or such a term that everybody is crazy about it, and I don't think so. We really require a public relation activity. In Bollywood, in pictures, how it is?
Yes, Kanchan. Public relation is being extensively used in Bollywood, and the Bollywood which we know is not only about movies; it's more than movies. So, in Bollywood industry, we have director, producers, actors, actresses, and various other people working, the music directors and all. So, as I said earlier on your other shows also, that after the venture of multinational companies in early 90s, the things have changed in this country also. So the Bollywood of 70s is very much different from the Bollywood of now. It is more professional, more commercial, and it's actually a business. It's a business, a hardcore business where everyone wants to make their image. And the films are not what we buy tickets or we go on OTT platform and take the subscription and we see the movie. It is more than that. Every production house which is making the movie is extensively using the PR. They have their own PR teams also, and at times they hire the outside PR agencies also and the special consultants also. The actors and actresses, they have their own PR team. So when a movie is being made, from the time the idea is conceived, the PR activity starts till the time the movie is released, the PR activity goes on. And let me tell you, the production house, the one which is making the movie, is doing the PR for the movie. But the actors and actresses, they are also making their image using their own PR team. And so that this helps them out later in life when they get into the politics, when they get into any charitable work or they want to make image and go on the international platform, this PR is very helpful to them. So PR is not, the Bollywood is not only for the masses to watch their movies. It is beyond that also. And yes, any movie has to promote itself extensively and they use PR in various forms.
Now I heard that, as you mentioned, there is the public relation for pictures, and there are some shows which I've seen on television. Actors and producers, they come and they promote their shows, but I've heard they also have published. So there's a difference between public relation and published. Is there any difference in that?
It's the same thing. It is the same thing, Kanchan. The published in Bollywood, the public relation guy, the person who's doing the public relation is called published because his or her whole sole job is to make the image of his or her client or the production house he or she is working. They have to promote, they have to get publicity for the production house or for the actor or actresses. So their whole focus is on gaining the publicity through various medias, going on any kind of platform, creating the stories, being manipulator. So they are publicists. But they have to gain publicity. Their whole core focus is on gaining the publicity. And for that, they may manipulate the personal life of the entertainers. They may do anything. But any kind of publicity, public relations, as we say, any kind of publicity is always good.
So when we are planning, as you said, generally when we have discussed about trade exhibition, so it's the plan for 1 year. Now, what are the key points? Suppose if a filmmaker is planning to make a film, and how he should start popularizing the concept, the film. What are the key points when we are taking a public relation activity for one, let's say for one picture? How it should start, and what is the best time to really go into public relation activity for that particular film?
Okay. So, when the idea is conceived about making a movie, so that is the time when the production house, the people who are investing the money in the movie, they start creating a kind of image among the masses by just writing one single line to it, or by just talking about one particular subject. For example, I think in 2005 or 6, a very famous movie got released of Bollywood. It was called Black, and Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Rani Mukherjee, they were starring in the movie. So when the movie was conceived, Rani Mukherjee started visiting various blind houses in Mumbai, and also the very famous blind house which is behind Oberoi Hotel in Delhi. So this was just to gather a sympathy from the masses that, okay, I do have empathy and sympathy for the people who do not see. So that was the kind of thing they were doing. So now, right now, when I say, when the idea is conceived, the production house starts talking about that particular topic, that particular theme. And believe me, Kanchan, the Bollywood movies have changed a lot. It is not only a girl and a guy romancing, running around the trees. It is much more beyond that. And it is the Bollywood right now is very good about content. The content is the king in Bollywood. So they create the idea, they circulate it, and when they release the teaser also. When I say teaser, one poster, they release the teaser with the main person who is going to be the USP of the movie there on the poster, and they start going to various these actors and actresses. They don't act in the movie. They, in olden times, they would act in the movie, take the money, go back home. Now the actor and actresses have got more responsibility. They are completely involved in the marketing of the movie. So they go to various shows. We see various different shows. They go there, the comedy shows, the serious shows. They are there as participants on various TV channels, debate shows also, and the music release function. These are all important part of public relations. Now, in between, if any actor and actress has got any personal problem, it is, blown out of the proportion purposely. This is manipulation so that they get attention. In Bollywood, attention is very important. So it is done in any form of, in any manner it is done. So promoting a movie, they can go to any extent. And sometimes the movie is promoted in a positive manner, sometimes it is promoted negatively. And when, we have various web series, like there was this web series, Mirzapur. It got very famous 1 year and 2 year back, I think from 2019. And Sacred Games. It was a hardcore, these two web series were hardcore crime web series. But believe me, the youngsters were totally hooked on these crime series. And, somewhere they created an idea among the masses that everywhere around everyone, a crime is being done. And so people, they started buying various kind of cameras. They started getting the cameras installed outside their house and various other things. So, in Bollywood, they can go to any extent to promote the movie. And they go internationally also. They go to various diaspora, Indian diaspora outside the country also, where they promote the movie. So right now, like Mr. Anupam Kher is in America promoting a movie also about himself. And it is about a person living outside, a very middle-aged person living outside India. So, these kind of things are done. So they can go to any extent. And I have a case study which I'm going to discuss in this program also.
Ritu, you see, Gone are the days when there was a film which was Mughal Azam, and I am sure that there was no public relation as such as we are talking today. And still, Mughal Azam is being appreciated by the masses. And now, recently, I have seen a picture which is, I think, Mohenjo-daro, which has a high level of actors like Ritik Roshan and other actors and actresses. But it was not being appreciated by masses, what in my opinion. Now the thing is that Bollywood and picture making is an art related domain, and when we are talking about art and tradition, and there are few films which really touch. So first thing, product has to be very good, that is there. But then one thing is that information which has to be circulated among the masses, I think where public relation plays a vital role. And a part of this, as you mentioned, the published. So I think to getting a good project for actor is also very critical, and that's why these public relation agency and published work in two ways. So I think you can elaborate using your case study also. So elaborate, and what I feel is that a public relation works two way: publicity, selling the actor, and selling the product, and then the film, and then of course some merchandising is also there. So I think this whole is part of public relation, and along with the advertising and marketing. What do you say? And you can, if you have any case study, we would like to hear that.
Yes, Kanchan, Mughal Azam was a very big hit and there was no public relation being done that time, and it was a completely researched movie. The product was very good. It was completely researched movie. Nowadays, what I see that filmmakers, they are, not interested in doing complete research, and they are interested in getting the bucks back very easily. So, and it's not class at times. The movies do not have class, but they cater to masses. Now, how public relation is used, let me take the case study of Shilpa Shetty, actress Shilpa Shetty. Shilpa Shetty was never a very successful actress, and she did a very limited number of movies. She was never a very successful actress, although she was definitely a glamorous woman, and she did many advertisement TV commercials also. So, but she became a big name in Bollywood. And how did she become a big name? It was because of all her media activities being handled by a public relation guy, a public relation man called Dale Bhagwakar. Dale Bhagwakar is an Indian citizen, and he is also known as the manipulator or the king of spin by Indian media. And he's a very popular guy in Bollywood. So, and he has 2 or 3 important clients other than Shilpa Shetty. Although it's a different story that nowadays Shilpa Shetty and Dale Bhagwakar, they have parted their ways because of various business reasons. But he was the one who got her into the Big Brother's house. And the kind of controversy happened with her inside the Big Brother's house. He used the controversy, made her an international name, and she became the controversy queen all over the globe, all over the world. And then Shilpa Shetty came back in India, and she became a very successful businesswoman also. The image created on international platform helped her in India. She became a very successful businesswoman. She endorsed various products also. And then she had her own cricket team also in IPL. This was all because of Mr. Dale Bhagwakar. So these PR people, the publicists, they help their client. Like Shilpa Shetty is one person. So she's an individual and her main job is working in Bollywood. So he helped her in being the queen in any kind of entertainment business. Now, second case study, which every child in today's world would relate, it is with Mr. Salman Khan. I'll take Mr. Salman Khan. So there was lots of controversy happening with Mr. Salman Khan way back in 90s, late 90s. His father, Mr. Salim Khan, got very worried that why my son is getting involved in one controversy after another controversy. So that time there was a lady called Reshma Shetty. Mr. Salim Khan and Reshma Shetty, they decided that media has got very important role in India, and the complete media has banned Mr. Salman Khan. There was a time when Mr. Salman, you can even Google out, Mr. Salman Khan was banned by Indian media. So they said, let us do something about my son. So Reshma Shetty was signed. She became the publicist for Salman Khan. Reshma Shetty and Mr. Salim Khan decided to open Being Human. The Being Human NGO originated from there. They said, let's adopt few villages, few small districts of Maharashtra, and let's give some kind of education to these places. And slowly Being Human ventured in various cities, various small districts of Maharashtra. And Salman Khan was always roped in just to show his face so that the people would gather and listen to what Mr. Salim Khan or Reshma Shetty want to do. And they were actually doing some kind of education program also. But somewhere Salman Khan really got attached with Being Human. He then decided that I should just take one or two important verticals. So Being Human became the number one NGO in UAE and India for the wellness and education for young kids. Fortis Hospital has tie-up with Being Human. So any kind of operation which is done through Being Human is always done in Fortis Hospital. And when you have to run any NGO, you have to take the money also. You have to collect money also. So Salman Khan started selling his sketches and paintings also. And he started holding his exhibition in UAE and India. Plus, every film producer was asked to pay certain amount of money to Being Human. And various programs were conducted all over India, internationally also, where money was gathered and it got into Being Human. Right now, Being Human has got his own merchandise also, t-shirts and watches and cycles also. The money gets into Being Human to do this kind of charitable work. So Reshma Shetty is still a very famous publicist of Salman Khan, a very famous publicist. She changed the image. Because of Being Human, the Salman Khan's image got changed. Okay, he's a very good guy. He's got very good heart. All these things were written all over the media. So if you are a Bollywood PR consultant, you have to manage media for your client. Any kind of publicity is good, but then your client should garner positive publicity.
Well, we had been discussing about all aspects of public relations. So, how it is difficult or easy Bollywood public relation when we are talking about political public relation, or what is any difference or planning, or it is same, or there's a, when we are talking about Bollywood PR, it is more of people who are inclined to art and culture. They are more successful, and political professional who are doing political public relation, they are more politically inclined. They know how to set political agendas. So how really you differentiate in that?
Bollywood PR is difficult culture. There's no doubt about it. So any young person who wants to get into Bollywood PR has to actually make his or her own image in front of the whole of the Bollywood. And it is a fact that all Bollywood people do not use public relations. Not all. There are only few people who are using such kind of public relations. And let's say there are only 150 or 200 people who may be using PR, not all Bollywood people. And it involves lots of money also. It does involve lots of money. And these people who are using Bollywood PR, specifically, big names, specifically big names, and those who are individuals, the individual actor and actresses, they're actually investing big money, and they have some aim in life which is more than Bollywood. They have some aim in life, perhaps to be a successful business person, perhaps to get into politics, perhaps to do any kind of thing. So to gain that aim, to make image of themselves, they are using public relations right now through Bollywood. And the production houses, let's say Yash Raj Films, they are I know my students who are working with Yash Raj movies, and they are working in their PR department, and they say that it's completely professional thing which they do. So Yash Raj Productions, they give chance to new directors and other people also. So these people, they don't have that kind of money. The young people do not have that kind of money that they can promote their films. So they release their films through Yash Raj movies. And the Yash Raj, they have their own public relation department, which helps these new people to release their movies. get them publicity, they take them to various cities in India where they go to various malls, they conduct various kind of entertainment programs where people are, they get to meet these stars. So there are some production houses which are doing actually good PR work, and there are some production houses which do not use any kind of public relations, and specifically the art producers and directors still do not use that kind of public relations which they should be using. So it is hardcore commercial filmmakers who are doing the public relations.
Well, we are talking about Bollywood public relations. So, lastly, I would like to ask you that when we are talking about public relation and Bollywood, so how it is different, or when we are talking about advertising and marketing, or public relation plays a vital and prominent role in any of the film production or film release, and apart the image building of any actor or production house. So which is more critical, public relation activity and advertising and marketing? How you really rate that?
So when a film is conceived, a budget is kept for public relation activity and for the advertising also, because when you're doing public relation activity on various TV important role, and the public relations does play an important role in creating the image of that particular actor in working in that particular movie. Because there are some actors who had some different kind of image, and when they acted in one particular movie, their image got changed. The recent example I give you of Kriti Sanon. She has acted in a movie on Netflix which is called Mimi. So she had a very different kind of image of a glamorous girl, but after Mimi, her image has got changed. There were various articles written about the issue which has been raised in Mimi about her Kriti Sanon's acting and various other things. These were all planned activities, and the public relation people do these planned activities because the production house which made the Mimi had a particular budget for promoting the movie, for promoting this particular actress, for promoting the idea which has been talked about in the movie. So when you are selling your movie, when you are advertising your movie, you have to talk about the main protagonist also, because he or she is the one who are acting in the movie. And believe me, Pankaj Tripathi is also there in the movie, but then people are not talking about him, although he's a very good actor. So it is Kriti Sanon who is being talked about in the movie. So it is all planned activity.
So as usual, it is so wonderful to talk to you, Ritu, today and really know about the critical aspects of public relations, which is very important because all is business here. So we'll be talking again, meeting again with another critical topic of public relation. Till then, bye-bye and you take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you also take care. It's nice talking to you. Thank you so much.
Hello friends, welcome to Akulmak Live, and I'm Chandrakant. As the economy is now opening up, most of the countries are going on a major vaccination drive, and that is protecting a lot of people from getting COVID-19 in future, or even if they get COVID-19, it will not be so severe. It will not be dangerous to life. So therefore, people are now getting into groove of restarting economy, restarting their processes and business. And that has given rise to a new way of working, which is called hybrid work environment. Now, to discuss this matter, I will be joined by a very senior, very distinguished person joining us from Singapore. Before I start the discussion, I have to tell you that there is this QR code on the screen.
All you have to do is point your mobile phone camera on this QR code and you will get connected with us instantly. So friends, don't go anywhere. I'll be taking a short break and join back with a guest. Welcome back, friends, and we have a very special topic to discuss, which is related to hybrid working. And for this discussion, I'll be joined by a very senior person from our industry, Ms. Farida Charania. She is the CEO of Career Zoom, and she's joining us today from Singapore. So welcome to the show, Farida.
Thank you, CK. Always a pleasure to be back, and I am so looking forward to this conversation. What do you have in mind?
Well, Farida, we are all working from home, and there is an emergence of many different kinds of techniques and tools today. At the same time, we have been hearing about something called hybrid working or hybrid workforce. So, can you explain from your point of view, what does it mean? What is the meaning of hybrid working, and how does it benefit the enterprises?
Okay, excellent. I think I need 7 hours to talk about this because this is a topic we have been talking a lot nowadays, but let me try to do it in an efficient, timely manner. Um, so, what is hybrid working? So, in my mind, hybrid is when you actually can have a mix of working from home and office. However, in reality, for the last year plus, most of us have been working from home. And the question is that is this something that will actually go on? I do have a slightly different expectation as well as a slightly different opinion on this, but it really depends how things go, in the future. But with the vaccination rates going really high and most countries trying to vaccinate as quickly as possible, I think hybrid working will stay, but not to the extent that everybody is expecting.
So yesterday I was, just doing my usual work, and I got contacted by the country head of Wework. And as you know, Wework has been acquired, and they had a booming business. In fact, a listed company in the US, and they are saying that, hey, why don't you come over to our business center, and for free, no strings attached, just start your operations. And then I told him, look, lots have happened in last 2 years, and we have migrated our entire business onto digital platforms. So thank you for the offer, but I don't see a need to get into physical world at this point in time. So if that is the case today for a small, medium company like our company, how this hybrid workforce will benefit in the sense that there is no physical activity which are being promoted right now. At least at least 60% of the business are actually going digital today. So what we have to do to get into hybrid work?
I think, look, the thing is that small and medium enterprises probably tasted blood. So, they kind of realize in this 1 year that it's possible to still continue running your business with some adjustments without having a physical space. So, I think that is something which is here to stay. But when you look at large corporations, I don't think that will continue to be so much about you can work from home, because what happens is that if you are in a job which requires you to constantly, meet with people and, brainstorm in person, etc., then that is impacted quite a bit if you are working in isolation. So larger organizations will not really kind of, allow this for very long. There are organizations which are pretty much, like B2C companies, or rather, their audience is B2C, but the business is B2B. If you look at large companies like Twitter, etc., they probably will go into, maybe permanent, remote, permanent, hybrid, because for them it's important that they are able to, get talent across the world. The talent is able to deliver what they need across the world. but they don't necessarily need to kind of invest in a large physical presence. They could still have smaller offices. But if you look at, say, for instance, banks, it is very difficult to do quality control, say, for a large bank's customer call center. It is very difficult to manage the quality. If you look at large markets like India, and I'm sure you and a lot of our viewers probably have experienced that customer service probably has dipped the scale, really, really south, because there is just no control. If people are working from home, one, there is no motivation. Two, it is really, troublesome to kind of manage the quality. There is, people could do anything, and it's just too much of a volume to start picking up where someone faltered or, what was not right. So unless somebody raises a complaint, it will never come to light. So those are situations I don't think hybrid or, remote is going to continue for very long. Even if you look at, say, staff, say in a travel agency, it is very difficult to continue working from home, because again, it is all about the ability to engage and the pricing and things like that, which is very difficult to keep looking at 5 screens, not have anybody to kind of consult or discuss. So I think slowly, as the vaccination rates go higher, in a year or so, we will be seeing a lot of large organizations moving back to offices, and hybrid might not stay like a permanent thing. It would be kind of something which will be more acceptable, but it might not be the norm.
All right. So, in order to get into hybrid work arena, if there is something that we need to prepare as a professional?
I think you mentioned the example of Wework. So a lot of these, hybrid type of centers where you have an office when you need it, and otherwise you can pretty much continue working from the location you are at. For instance, I like to work by my pool, and I don't think any office can offer that. But that is in jest. But in reality, yes, I think for smaller businesses specifically, when you start going back, meeting with people, etc., probably it might be useful to have some kind of a place which is available, because a lot of small businesses, which I kind of keep reading and talking to business owners, they have completed their lease of their premises and they have actually handed it back to the landlords. A lot of them don't want to renew it because they don't know when they will be back in offices and if they actually want to go back to offices. So this is an excellent time to figure out what are the possibilities. So you have the likes of Wework, Regis, Servcop. These are the larger names, and then in a lot of cities you have local communities which come up, which give you access to coffee shops and stuff like that. But that is more for informal meeting when you need a community to be with someone. But if you really need an office space sometimes to meet with your clients and stuff, it might be useful to start looking at those options now, because it's always demand that drives the pricing as well. So when everybody is going to go back to them, they might become as expensive as having your own offices. So it might be a good time to start thinking about whether you want to commit at this point in time, because again, the COVID situation has lasted long, but it's not going to continue forever. As the vaccination rates go up, and economy start opening up, travel starts opening up, we will eventually start going back to offices, because I don't think I am prepared to work one more year with a 7-year-old shouting in my background. I think I will completely go mad. So it's also for your own, mental peace that you want to have a dedicated workspace. Right now, we all do it because that is the only choice that we have. But even from a choice perspective, people will prefer going back to offices, and employers will want the staff to come back to offices as well.
I think there are even features that I've heard of, which is coming in the actual scenario, and that is pay-per-use model. So now the business centers are also experimenting with this new payment plans, which is pay-per-use, even including Wework and a lot of others like CBRE and a lot of other business centers. So I think that is also coming up. But I think the whole objection to this as a professional that I have is that now most of the business is going digital. So will it make any sense to kickstart the physical operations for digital players?
Probably not. Probably not, because as a digital player, you also need to walk the talk and make sure that you are able to give that confidence to your end user that this can be managed digitally completely. So, but again, these businesses did not exist in this actual form 3-4 years back. Now, as we go into the future, yes, a lot of businesses will become digital, but you can't just do away with complete requirement of brick and mortar. So like I said, for SMEs, the dynamics would be very different. The world for which we actually prepared ourselves no longer exists. It's changed completely. And so will our, engagement with business, our way of running the business is going to change as well. But for larger organizations, I think it is still a distant future. Just because you can work from home doesn't mean you will be allowed to forever. Yeah.
So Farida, in case of a hybrid business model for a larger organization, what will be the emerging model for next 6 months or 1 year? Is it like once a month you have to visit the office, or you have to visit once a week? What is the trend that you see globally?
Um, Okay, yeah, I think trend is a better response to this, because I definitely can't decide how they are going to work or not give my opinion as to what I think. But I think what I'm seeing largely is that offices, where people are going back to offices, they are allowing like 50% capacity, depending on the country that you are in. They are allowing 50% capacity or 30% capacity, or alternate day working. So I have a feeling that for the next one year at least, it would be like a 50-50. So people would work from home half the time, and then probably be present in physical locations half the time. But this is only for very large enterprises. I'm not talking about SMEs, because SMEs probably want to use that money that they use for a physical office towards business expansion and building the digital capabilities, because that is the future any which ways. So I think with large offices, I do see an exceedingly rising trend that, things like, say, for instance, finance, which can be done from home, but it is not preferably, it's not a preferred model, because you still want the finance team to sit inside the office and do things, because otherwise there is no control, there is no governance. Operations, for instance, it can be done from home, but then you still prefer the team to be on site to make sure that things are run smoothly and there is coordination between different colleagues. Also, what happens is that, see, for some things, like, say, for instance, product management, these could be easily done from home. But then again, of course, we are living in a global world, so people work at their own times. And I, in fact, sometimes get emails. Like last night, I got an email from a senior partner in one of the big four saying that I work at my own time, don't be compelled to reply outside of office hours. And people have started putting this kind of a tagline, in their signature. So still, like, for instance, if it is a very local thing, then you still need to work within those time frames. And when people work from home, it is you work from home, work at home. So there is, like, no actual distancing. Like, I have my daughter, dancing behind me in a Barbie dress in a lot of my meetings. And unfortunately, I can't do anything about it, because there is just no distinction between when you're working and when you are at home. So that also kind of starts taking a toll on people, because you are working 24/7. And now, since people work from home, if somebody reaches out to you on email, the tendency is to just pick up your phone and answer immediately, because you want to just respond to that email, WhatsApp, and whatever, Signal, and I mean, how many things have sprung up. Yeah. So I think that for that distinction and for people's mental health also, it's necessary that people start going back to work sooner or later.
So Farida, now we are moving into the new scenario where there'll be a hybrid work environment. And we have been hearing that most of the jobs will also get into a contractual kind of jobs. So with this hybrid work environment, will it have any impact on our job contracts?
I think yes. So increasingly I am actually saying that there have been firstly subtle and then gradual kind of changes in the contracts. Like a client of mine, I saw one of the recent contracts from them. They are offering a 400 US dollar stipend addition to the salary as a work from home benefit. Right now you get work from home benefits, but I think increasingly these contracts will start looking very different, because if hybrid is going to be the next wave of working and work life, or remote work is going to be the next best thing, then there is no way to kind of gauge how a person is going to perform, and you will only be able to see the results. So, lot of the pay would be tied to results. Today, still, people are being paid for their time, not for the results. But I think that thing is going to change in future. So we are eventually, even moving away from manager as a driver of performance to curator of results. And that is going to reflect in the pay scales as well. So maybe the fixed pay probably could start going down, and, a lot of remuneration could be linked to results.
So the question that I have now is regarding your organization. What sort of role your company, or what sort of change your organization is looking towards leveraging this particular opportunity that is visible?
Oh, this is like, a consultant's dream, because the possibilities are, kind of endless. If I start unfolding all the reels of imagination that I have, then I can see so many possibilities. But very quickly, where we play a role is one, helping our clients adapt to this new way of working, because a lot of our clients are actually small and medium enterprises who probably, have worked hybrid or remote for almost a year, but still there is a lot that they need to do in terms of getting all this together, and piecing these pieces together, so stringing them together. Like for instance, sometimes they do not know what is their business continuity plan, because now it is not a physical office where you have a different server room and things like that. So we work with them to kind of make sure that we help them to understand that who are people who will take over each other's job, because you are all in a remote world and it's very difficult to understand what the other person is doing. So help them and train them to be ready, future ready. That is one thing. The other thing is basically optimize resource allocation. Again, in a remote world, it's very difficult to optimize resource allocation, because sometimes it could be one person is overburdened, and another colleague might not have enough on their plate. So we help them understand what is the actual resource capability and how to reallocate work depending on the capacity. So it's like an airline where you make sure that all the seats are sold. They might be sold at a much lesser price, but you want to optimize the capacity. So we help them with doing things which will help them to kind of be a forward looking organization and understand how to leverage what they already have rather than going and building something. So to kind of bring all this together, our service does not go and replace something that the client already has. Our service goes and fits in beautifully within their ecosystem, helping them to leverage their ecosystem better.
So it was very nice to talk to you, Farida, today, and I wish you all the best for the successes that your organization is looking forward, leveraging the hybrid work environment in the future, or for next 1 or 2 years. It has been a pleasure of mine, and we look forward to meeting you once again for something more interesting in future.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure, CK, to be back on your show. And to all the viewers who are watching, stay well, stay happy, stay healthy. This is not forever. We don't know till when this situation is going to last, but the glass is half full, because a mask is better than ICU. Home is better than the hospital. So stay safe. Thank you.
Hello friends, welcome to Akul Mac Live. My name is Chandrakant. Today we want to discuss a very important subject which is related to our country, our tax regime, and it is about GST. GST is have been implemented since 2017, but still there is a lot of confusion. There are a lot of new business people who have joined the fray, and we thought that it is important to explain the GST and how it is calculated once again. So in today's session, we will be discussing global goods and services tax, how it functions, and we will also discuss the legal aspect, the legal implications of something new which has happened from 1st April 2021. Before we start our discussion, a word on our giveaway. We have some unique Akulmek memorabilia which will make you look outstanding. The graphics on these corporate gifts are based on the global best business practices. To become recipient of one of these gifts for free, you have to watch this video till the end and provide your valuable comments. Or you can also share your experiences. The person who makes the best comment would be chosen to become a recipient of these beautiful Akulmak gift, absolutely free, delivered to your doorsteps. The winner would also get a chance to be invited live as a distinguished panelist during our next video. What are you waiting for, friends? Please subscribe Akulmak and smash that like button. Now let's get back to our discussion. Hello friends, let me introduce my guest today. His name is Jeet Bhatt. He joins us from Ahmedabad. He is a very popular, very intelligent advocate practicing in Ahmedabad High Court. So without further ado, let me present Jeet to you. We will be discussing about GST today in our show.
Hello, Chandrakant. Thank you for having me on this show. Hi, Chandrakant. Thank you for having me on this show.
Yes, pleasure is ours. I think, Jeet, what we are looking for today is from the legal standpoint. First of all, I think many people don't understand the GST when it was implemented, and there has been a lot of confusion. So you can actually clarify the GST laws and also how it is beneficial for everyone, how it is beneficial for consumer as well as for the retailer as well as for the stockist and manufacturers. Over to you, Jeet.
Yes, Chandrakant. In fact, before starting with GST, I may just give you a brief background of what are the taxation system or the tax regime in this country. Basically, tax is either a direct tax or an indirect tax.